Matthew chapter 4 verse 8. We're reading to 11. The third temptation. Read with me. We'll read verse 8 and then I'll continue. 1, 2, read. Again, the devil taketh him up into, stop, not towards, into. The devil taketh him. Who is the him? Your Jesus. Taketh him into an exceeding high mountain. And what happened when they got to that mountain? He stood from that mountain and saw the glory of the entire earth. That there is a mountain a man can stand, and from that mountain you can see the glory of the whole earth. This is the mountain that Satan took Jesus. There were many mountains, but he knew only one would be worth tempting Jesus in, and he took Jesus to that mountain. The Bible calls it an exceeding high mountain. And then he showed him the kingdoms of this world and the glory of them. Next verse. And saith to him, all these things, what things? The kingdoms and the glories I will give thee. So Satan is negotiating a transaction here, but there was a location. He said, Jesus, I want to talk to you, but let's go up the mountain. We don't do these kinds of discussion on a plain land. He took him to an exceeding high mountain where it was only two of them. And then he says, this is, I want to give. That one is a deception. Because when you give something and demand something, it's not giving, it's business. He used a very deceptive terminology. He says, I will give thee if thou will fall down. I will give you pure water if you will give me 100 naira. Is that charity? No. Satan is negotiating something with Jesus, your Jesus. And look at the interesting system. He starts by marketing something to him. He says, before we talk, see first, so that you will believe me. Look at the kingdoms, and then look at their glories, the wealth. And then he says, now that you have seen and are convinced, let us discuss. This is my proposal. I will give you access from this mountain to all these kingdoms. They will be at your beck and call. What I will get in return, listen carefully, is that you will fall down and worship me. Now imagine, God forbid, but just imagine that Jesus agreed. What do you think would have happened? Jesus would have come down that mountain with strange influence that you cannot explain. Now you were not there. All you know is that he bowed down and said, Satan, I'm more interested in the kingdom and the glory. O King Satan, I acknowledge you as my Lord. I give you my heart. And Satan says, okay, as I agreed. If Satan tempted Jesus, how many other people has he taken to that mountain to say, come, forget about this, let me show you how things happen in this earth. And then he says, look at this, I will give you these kingdoms and the glory, bow down to me. Not everybody will say no. Some people will say yes, and will say, this is the deal, here you have, go down. Immediately they go down. In 2 months their albums are all over the world, regardless of what they sing. And you say, my God, this guy is so skilled. No, something happened up the mountain. I pray that God will open your eyes to understand what I'm teaching you tonight. There are certain dimensions of the supplies of God that cannot happen by doing business with men. You must do business with spirits. I cast my crown before, listen, the highest royalty. Remember, that's what Satan wanted. Bow down and worship me. Satan has been obsessed with allegiance and loyalty. The kingdoms did not mean anything to him. The glories did not mean anything to him. But he knows that it is the system that men need. And so what he decided to do was to make sure that he has control of those systems, and then he will continue to call men to say, let us negotiate. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world? Question, where did that business happen? That he gained the whole world? Because that is a business terminology. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world? Where is the law? Show me where men gain the whole world. Do they gain it in a bank? Do they gain it in an investment house? Show me where men gain the whole world and give up their soul. That business, when you get there, the commodity is your soul versus the world, not your product. Your soul and the world. 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 So you now know that it says, I wish above all things that you prosper. But I hope your soul too was not lost while you are prospering. I hope that the way you prospered was God's own way. I know how you are prospered. When your soul does not prosper, it was exchanged for your wealth. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Yabone nakawa sujada nena sarkin salama sarkin. My concern is not your prosperity. I can know what kind of exchange happened by looking at your soul. Immediately I look at your money, the next thing I should look at is your soul. If I find out that your spiritual life went down, there was an exchange that happened on the mountain. Whether you are aware or not, you have followed a system that has sold your soul. There are many, sit down please. There are many men of God. There are many businessmen. There are many captains of industry that received the world and sold their soul. This temptation Satan gave Jesus was not the last time he would give it. He has been giving it till today. So he says, I wish above all things that you will prosper. But I will know how the prosperity came, not by looking at the money, but looking at your soul. When I see both your soul and your pocket rising, I know where that grace came from. It can't be the devil. The devil will never allow your pocket and your soul to rise at the same time. So I look at your prosperity and then I look at your soul. I see that in your rising, you gave up your values. You gave up your character. You gave up your family. You gave up your integrity. I know that there is a negotiation happening. You are giving your soul for mundane things. Are we together? Look what Jesus did. Verse 10. Jesus said, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. What was Satan looking for? Allegiance. Satan does not need money. He does not want money. So apostle, why is it that there is difficulty in meeting our bills at home? Satan knows that men cannot endure hardship indefinitely. So he manipulates the economy and waits for you on that mountain. He knows that when the pain becomes too much and your church cannot build, the pastor will say, I thank God for this, but I prophesy, Sam, bring 1 million. Remember, that's not how he started. But because of the pain, we need money. Generator needs to be fueled fast. And now I'm at a point, we brought a man of God abroad and we cannot pay him. So Sam, bring 1 million, bring 2 million. So I see the church's financing rising, but I look at the soul of the members. So I know that an exchange has happened. The pastor negotiated an exchange. I'm not saying this in a critical way. The greatest dread of Satan is that you prosper while your soul prospers. What then is his gain? Think how annoying it will be for me as a businessman. This is what I'm selling. Look up, please. And then I see you hold both money and my product. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Now, you think what that would do to me? My advantage has been ruined. You have shown me I don't need you. That's the statement that this is happening. And so when you can have a prosperous soul and you are empowered economically, are we together? You get up in the morning and say, my children, we are waiting upon the Lord today, yet the increment in the school fees does not affect the prayer because the resources are there. Glory be to God. Satan says, what then is my entry point in this family? Thank you. Is God speaking to someone? What shall it profit a man? Please listen to this message, because I promise you, every one of us, you will climb that mountain. Listen. You may climb that mountain and come back with wood, or you can climb that mountain and come back as a soulless person. That on that mountain, Satan will give you mundane things. And after 30 years of wealth and affluence and increase, you will find out that you are on your way to hell. This message is a deliverance to the body of Christ.